Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. All right, welcome. It is episode 312 of my art stream. We're going to hang out and work on some comics today. It's going to be a low spice day. I was thinking about a spicy stream, but I feel like I've had enough spice for the time being. So anyhow, we're going to get into completing the colors for page 82 of Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I actually got a lot done on it, so we only really have one panel left to color, so that should be pretty quick. And then I might play a quick round of Risk, because I'm still on my quest to try to become a Grandmaster, and who knows where that'll go. So yeah, that's what's on the dock for today. Yeah, I'll turn off the music now. Boom. So yeah, so basically today it's a Saturday. Happy Saturday to anybody who's tuning in. And we're going to basically just work on Not Death But Love and then probably play a round of Risk. What I'm planning on doing today is basically like, okay, so we're going to finish the page. I need to get a really good chunk of the script that I'm working on for a pitch done. And I need to continue on my hunt for freelance and jobs and stuff like that. So that's kind of what's going on. We have a bunch of fun stuff for the show today. I showed this on our last stream. Jim Lujan was kind enough to send in a new animation, and we kind of premiered that on the last episode. But I'll probably be playing that again, as that's going to be in the rotation of promotional kind of break videos on this Saturday. So I was planning on live streaming last night, but I ended up actually watching Adam Lohr doing kind of a panel on somebody else's YouTube channel. And it was a really interesting conversation. So I was just listening into it while working. And so that's basically what I was up to last night. And I got through because he was up like super late. We're talking about like some really fascinating stuff. I ended up getting like 4 or 5 panels worth of colors done. So it was a really productive night. And we're just going to kind of wrap up and get that done. So before, continuing and just showing my ugly face, let's go ahead and go to the daily stream where you can see basically what I'm working on. So this right here, this is my cheap Wacom tablet that I use to draw. So you'll see that in the background. You might see my dog kind of wandering around. And then aside from that, over here is the page that I'm working on in Photoshop so far. So the thing that you see in magenta is the one thing I need to color during this stream. And then we're going to have a fun stream and probably play like Risk real quick before I have to get into all the other crazy things that I need to get done today. So I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm ramping up productivity on this book, and that's good because this is I think, over 200 page graphic novel. And so me being on page 82, it's like I'm ebbing closer and closer to the halfway point. But it is definitely it is encouraging to see the page output kind of increase. So I don't want to lose momentum on that. And then that's basically going to be what's on the dock for today. So I hope you guys have your own creative projects that you're kind of pulling up as you're listening to the stream, and are ready to rock and roll and make some art and make some things happen. I hope you guys are having a fun Saturday. And again, this is going to be a really low spice stream. So I've said that before, and sometimes it'll get spicy. But in this case, I think I'm in a pretty chill mood today. So yeah, so let's get into coloring this last panel, which is kind of cool. And my thanks go out to Adam Lohr. He had just a really interesting appearance on a show yesterday, and it was just a fascinating. It's it's one of those conversations you don't agree with any, like, half of what's being said during the conversation, and that's no insult to like Adam or anybody else, but it was still fascinating, and that's one of the things that I always like about Adam, is in general he's going to have really interesting conversations with people, and some really interesting people. So that kept me company while I did. Uh, Flat colors for quite a few things. um so yeah, so we're gonna just get through the flats. I don't think this is gonna take all that long to do flats, and then we'll do a quick game of Risk, just kind of give you guys a little bit of content for this Saturday, and then we'll probably call it on the stream. So I'm guessing this will not be a long one, but you guys can probably, like, those of you who followed my channel for a long time probably know that quite often I'll be like, oh, this should take no time at all, and things will take forever. So this isn't the most exciting page. This is just kind of like a lot of I mean, it's not bad, but it's just kind of like very mild, like low action page where we're seeing somebody get seated, and we're establishing the scene for a conversation, and we'll kind of continue seeing how far we can get on this page. Um, yeah, it's been an interesting week. The wife and her mom is up visiting, so they went to the zoo with Ben. I kind of opted to stay home and work a little bit, and kind of get caught up, and then continue my hunt for employment. That's that's a huge one. Um, but yeah, man, like, yeah. Anyhow, I think I mentioned too. We had a neighbor like hit one of our cars. Like, it's my sister in law lives with us, and um, she her car was like parked right out front of our house, like in a spot it's usually at, and our neighbor accidentally like backed into it. I kind of felt bad for the guy because, like, again, he kind of took ownership of it and stuff. So I wasn't like mad or anything, but because, like, mistakes happen and stuff like that. But it was one of those days where, like, I'm like in the zone getting art done, and then, like, there's a crunch and a knock on the door, and you're like, oh no. Um, so yeah, it's been an interesting week of like a lot of weird, just kind of like not necessarily good or bad things, but just weird things happening all week that you almost couldn't plan. So yeah, so maybe if you guys are out there and you've disagreed with what I've said on a spicy stream, maybe that was karma getting me back. Okay, so we're gonna get our let's see here. We're gonna get our gray of the hair done on this page. So the way that I'm building these pages is it's got line art like this, and then I have a layer of shading underneath the line art. So if I show you without the flat colors, that's kind of what it looks like in black and white. And then what I do is I proceed to make a layer of flat colors that kind of look like this without the lines. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. And when you layer them all together, it makes this nice kind of Victorian style effect. Okay, let's see here. Let's get rid of our view of the guides. So anyhow, it's going to be a pretty good Saturday. Now, where I'm at on Risk, I've told you guys like I'm kind of obsessed with the game of Risk, and I've just been stuck at like Master. I can't seem to get to Grandmaster on Risk. Like, so that's like a little side project that I've been doing for, probably half the year or something, is like trying a slow climb towards grandmaster status so that I can take over the world. But yeah, the script that I'm working on is coming along pretty well. I'm really excited about that. There's a couple things that are going to come up as well. Like my wife and I have a kids book that she is drawing, and I'm going to help kind of finalize and color and do line art for her, and that's going to take quite a bit of time. But obviously, we're getting paid for it, so it's pretty cool. But that's going to be like coming up pretty soon too. I'm not sure if those things I'll be able to like live stream while doing. It would be cool if I can. Just to kind of show you guys, like, I think we're going to be doing it in Adobe Illustrator, and it might be kind of neat to show you guys a little bit of the way I approach art if I'm working in Illustrator. And then, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that it's funny. It's like, I think you guys might, understand this, but it's like when you're a creative, there's just like a million things you want to do. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's one of those things of I feel like if I spread myself thin and do everything that I want to do creatively, then I basically will get nothing done. And it's like that old habit. Paul said, "Howdy, boss. How's it going, chief?" uh, Paul probably understands this. It's like Paul's a pretty. What do you think, Paul? Like, I feel like how like actually that's a good question for you, Paul, in chat. You do animation, you do portraits, you do all sorts of cool stuff, and yet you manage to get a lot done. How do you kind of choose what you're going to prioritize? Because to me that's like the secret beast of being a creative, is like trying to be able to like isolate and pick what I need to do and what I need to focus on. Because like if I just had my way, I'd be like painting, in 5 minutes, and then I'd be like switching to like sculpture, and then I'd be like doing everything. And the problem when you're doing everything is you get a bunch of everything and a bunch, or I guess a bunch of nothing. And like, I don't know. For me, that's always a constant struggle. Where it's like, I'm a little obsessive, so I can kind of focus on like a singular task. But but yeah, I find that to be one of the biggest, uh, you know, frustrations, and also one of the best things to do as a creative is like being able to like actually pick a project and finish it. Um, but picking that project and then staying true to it, when like today, for instance, there's nothing I'd like better today than to just like bust out the paints and do like a haunted mansion portrait, which I might do a little bit later. Uh, Paul Pate said AI is Adobe Illustrator. Yes. Um, yeah. Uh, Although I don't think Adobe Illustrator, I don't think it's using AI fully yet, which is good. I don't know. It's interesting how Adobe's been approaching the actual AI thing. I am not really well versed on this. It'd be fun to like have a conversation with Corey Kerr about it, because he's like much more knowledgeable of like the movements of what AI is doing in the industry and stuff. But from what I gather so far, and maybe I'm wrong, it seems like the way that Adobe's been approaching it is a little more ethical than a lot of companies with their AI and their AI models. But I haven't even really explored or began to uh, or began to understand like how much they're incorporating, because I haven't even really explored their AI. I'm pretty honestly. Yeah, Corey was saying, Adobe, you got to hop on, Corey, and tell us about Adobe. I'm just kidding. You're probably doing stuff on Saturday, but if you want to hop in and hang out and explain to us what you understand about AI, that'd be fun. Um, yeah, Paul said, yes, the key is the stuff you say no to. You got to stay on target. Yeah, and that's a hard thing for a creative. Even as like weird and list based and slightly autistic as I am, I still get like super tempted by just insane ideas that I want to pursue. Um, there's so many kinds of art that I like. Like a lot of people may not know, but I'm like really into Dada a lot. Like art that's like really weird and it's like a middle finger to the art world. I love that stuff. And there's a part of me that wants to do that stuff, like do like found objects as art and stuff like that. There's a part of me that wants to do, traditional oil paintings. There's a part of me that wants to do like Lucian Freud style, just like super thick paintings. And there's a part of me that wants to, I could keep going, but it's just like there's so many things that I would like to do. And then that's just outside of comics. In comics, there's a lot of things I want to do. At some point I'd like to do like an all ages book, and like when am I going to find the time to write that script, and potentially I think that it would be fun to do an all ages book that I write and somebody else illustrates. I've been doing a lot of illustrating other people's scripts and stuff like that, and that's fine. And I've been doing a lot of illustrating my own, but it'd be fun to do a collaboration like that. There's so many things that it would be fun to do, that I think at some point, you know, you kind of have to just like call what the most important thing. What's the thing that you have to do, and then just kind of go from there. And so for me, it's like, that makes all that stuff shut off, because it's like, okay, my easiest priority right now is I have one thing that I already have a contract for. So I need to do that. My wife picked up a kid's book that we're going to work on together, and that's paid work. So I have to prioritize that, and then this opportunity with this author that I haven't been able to kind of mention who it is a really big opportunity. And so I need to pursue that, because those opportunities don't come, every day. And if there's one thing I've learned in art too, it's like I mean, Jim's talked about this a lot, and I think Jim is actually really good at doing this. But a lot of the trick, I think, is you want to do creative projects all the time, keep your output going, keep consistent, and stuff like that. But also, when like a wild opportunity comes along, you don't kind of want to turn it down, because it may not happen again. It's not bad to turn things down, but also like, it's that whole thing of like, success being, and not that I'm like a barometer of success in art or anything. Corey said Adobe used images they had licenses to, but the artists that licensed those images did it for stock, not feed AI. So better than ripping it without a license, but still not great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I'm hoping, my thought on AI and my hope on AI is I hope it's like a novelty. Like, I don't, to be honest, I just don't trust corporate America enough to think it'll stay a novelty. Um, oh, Jake Twister said, how's it going, Jake? It's been a while. Jake is part of the old school night gang, the OGs. You're like I guess like since you've been a part of the Kremlin since like the very beginning, you would be like I don't know what the rankings are in the Kremlin, but in the Kremlin you'd be whatever the highest, like you'd be in the highest echelon of Kremlin agents there, Jake. Speaking of highest echelon, we got Frank Salazar saying AI is spreading. It's in the TTRPG realm now. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, this is one thing that's really cool. So Dungeons and Dragons had an artist who was using AI, and it's an artist that's worked with them for years. And I think, to be honest, I think they were a freelance illustrator who was like under a tight deadline and saw a quick way to knock some stuff out, and so they used AI for elements of some art for a D&D book. And unbeknownst to Dungeons and Dragons, well, they found out because some fans found out, and they actually talked to the artist and did a public statement basically saying like they aren't going to throw the artist under the bus because they understand the artist didn't know that like this wasn't a policy at the time. But basically they were like, no, we're not going to do AI art, and any artist that works with us is going to have to sign basically like a waiver that says they can't use AI in the processing of our art. So good for Dungeons and Dragons. Like that was a really cool thing. Good for them, like putting their foot down and catching it early and being like, no, we're not going to do this. Like we're not going down this route because like, and you know what's sad is like it's not like Dungeons and Dragons has like a long track record of treating artists well or paying very fairly. But let's give credit where credit's due. Like that's a bold thing to do at the very intro of this new technology that could potentially save them a ton of money. And I love that we'll see if they stick to it, but I love that they're making, I think that we need to really celebrate, um, not just demonize companies, but celebrate companies that are refusing publicly to use this stuff. I think that even if it's just like words, I think those words are very powerful and could spread across industry and stuff. And so I thought that was really cool. But you're right, Frank. It is getting into role playing. It's getting into everything. I think the first industry it's going to really affect very poorly is probably going to be like costume art and character design and stuff like that, which is really unfortunate. So it's like, again, I think we got to kind of applaud companies that, even if it's a small step, are just opting to not use this thing. I think Corey sent a really amazing video by Titmouse that was like the future of animation, and it was just this artist basically like telling different prompts, um, and in like a small I think like a studio apartment that has just a bed and a computer, and they're speaking into a microphone, and they're like, all right, they have to like wait for their refresh on the AI program, so they have like coins or whatever they can input, and the artist just basically says what he wants animated, and then at the very end just kind of like ends up, he starts getting depressed, and like this drug like shot just like flies out of the wall and shoots into his neck and like to like drug him and make him happy. And then after that it's like he basically just like lays down in bed just crying, and it was like the future of animation, which is actually like a little hauntingly uh, uh, possible for our future. So anyhow, let's see here. Paul said, "You may not realize this about me, but I'm actually into corn." He said it doesn't help with my art projects or the rest of my life. um, and then Jake said, "You mean among the oligarchs?" Exactly. You're one of the oligarchs of the Kremlin. Okay. Um, Speaking of oligarchs, though, I can't think of a bigger oligarch than Frank from Roll for Taraco, who's been a big supporter since I started. How are you doing, Frank? I haven't seen you in a while, man. Yeah, Frank said the future. I'm crying right now. And then Paul said AI is the nuclear of our time, but kudos to D&D. Yeah, I thought that was a huge thing. And again, it's kind of surprising coming from that industry, because again, that particular industry has been notorious for really underpaying artists for years, and so like the fact that they spoke up is really quite profound and meaningful, because again, like that fantasy realm of illustration, like I've had friends who've done, now this wasn't D&D, but like did Magic the Gathering cards and art for that company, for like Wizards of the Coast and stuff, and they do like a full out painting, like a traditional excuse me, a traditional painting, digitally, but it would take 16, 20 hours, and they get paid like $25. I can't even remember, but it was like something like $25 for a just full out, digital painting. And I was like, oh my gosh, these card artists are getting like screwed. Um, but it's kind of like, it's just been known in the illustration world that that's kind of how that industry is. Um, and so, if you're going to do that stuff, you're usually, sadly, even though you probably shouldn't be, a lot of people doing that are doing it for the exposure or the ability to like add that company to their resume, or just because they flat out love it. But yeah, like the fact that something in that same industry that's pretty notorious for underpaying their artists, they even took a stance against AI. Hey, again, like I'll give credit where credit's due. I'm not going to pretend they suddenly, pay their artists well, but it's at least that's a step in the right direction. Now let's see here. I think that I might be making an error here. I want to see. Okay. I need to see page. Okay, we went with a white border of the wall. Okay, so that was a mistake on my end. Okay. And then we have one more thing, which is the shadow on the door here. On the door. Jake said one of the quail chickens passed today, so I game for a hit of that spice. The quail. Oh, sorry to hear that, man. Well, I like, you came to the wrong stream, because this is not a spicy stream. But if you got spice you want to bring to the chats, that's fine. But today is, to me, like a chill art day, and then a let's play Risk day. Okay, so I can't believe it, but that was like the quickest thing ever. In 28 minutes, we finished only one panel. Like I said, I did the last of these. I did most of the flats. I was intending to do a live stream yesterday while I did this, but yeah, I ended up listening to Adam, a friend of the show, Adam Lore, on a stream, who was getting in this wacky conversation with some other people, and it was a great. I mean, by wacky, it's not bad. It was like a really interesting conversation. So I ended up listening to that for most of it. Roll for Taraco, aka Frank Salazar, says, I'm good. I've been focusing on TTRPG stuff, tabletop role playing games, and I'm doing cleaning around the house, and the kitchen table is now ready to play games on. Yes. Well, I'm going to be playing a game in about a minute. Let's see here. Jake said, I'll take a chill pill. No. Jake, I appreciate spice, and I am not against spice. I just, like, for some reason today, just was not kind of in the zone for being a spicy person. Let's see here. So Frank said, okay, there's a Risk card game now. I haven't played it now. or haven't played it yet. I should probably look into that because my kid will not play Risk with me. This is one thing you'll realize about having a kid. Well, I mean, Frank already probably knows this, but it's like the second you get into something, Paul said, I finished page 90 today, Josh. Oh, Paul, you're too fast. Slow down. You got to slow down. I'm kidding. Actually, I'm really glad you're that fast because, again, the Detective Perez series is incredibly fun. And I can't wait for the next volume. Jake was saying, I'm saying I'll gladly take one. Some nights it's good. Yeah, for sure. So I have printed this copy. I'm going to go ahead and save it. You're going to hear dogs in the background because the family's getting home. They get real worked up when somebody gets home. In fact, if you want to see, there's the dog with his, there they both are, you see? And yeah, everybody's getting home. Frank said 90 pages of Paul Pate goodness. Exactly. So basically, now that we've finished this page, I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. And then we're going to wrap with playing a quick round of Risk, and then we're going to call it for the stream. Very, very short one today. I might be, after Risk, I might be back to kind of work on more, depending on how far I can get on this script. But scripting, like writing, I don't know if you guys have ever tried it, but it's like live streaming while writing is not going to happen. It's just not. It would be the most boring live stream in the world where basically I would just be like sitting down and saying what I'm typing and then kind of being like, well, if I just put this here and I'm going to put this over there, and people would be like, this is the most boring thing on earth. So we're going to go ahead. Now we've got the JPEG saved. So I'm going to just get everything set up for a Risk stream. And then after that, I'm going to get to the other things that I need to do today that are not comic pages. We'll not save this because that's the previous page. And let's see if we can get that all sorted out. So I'm going to get everything set up for the Risk stream, and then we're going to watch Jim Lujan's latest animation for this channel, which was one of the coolest surprises. So if you guys want to see that, all right, here we are. This is my my game. I'm at Master. I've been trying to slowly, level up there, and we'll see where it goes. So we're gonna play one quick game, and then we'll call it. Let me take this ridiculous. Okay. Oh, that was not it. Let me see. I'm trying to take off the ridiculous banner. There it is. Okay, the banner that Corey Kerr teases me for, because it is obnoxious. Okay, we're gonna put up our gaming banner, and that's gonna be this right here. Jaboom. And we're gonna get ready to take over the world, ladies and gentlemen. Paul said. Frank said you updated your profile. Cool. Yeah, I kind of like the Deathbot guy. I still need to get a better banner that'll better match the droid. I've been like a zombie for years on this, or for about a year on this, so I figured it's time to upgrade. But we're going to get into playing a live game of Risk. Paul said this is a risky stream. Frank said, is that an AI about to take over the world? That's right. That's right. And then Paul said, you just described my stream, Josh. I think he was talking about when I was describing what my writing stream would be like. No, Paul, your streams are incredibly fun. All right. So what we're going to do is watch the Jim Lujan, the latest Luhan contribution to the Krembleverse, the Kremblin, and then we'll get into playing a round of this game, and then we'll call it for the stream. So nice, short, sweet stream today. Here it is.
George, you can't say the craziest thing.
So, little Susie, do you have any brothers or sisters? I understand you're in 3rd grade. How do you like that? Do you like your teacher? You like to do a lot of fun things at school? You got any hobbies, Susie? Any things you like to do when you're not in school? I hear you like to read.
Well, right now I'm reading 2 stories written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It grapples with faith and mental illness. It's ultimately a story about redemption. It's a savage piece of writing. Also, I just finished up Jacob's Apartment, another one by Kemble. Jacob's Apartment weaves together elements of spiritualism and relationship dynamics, as well as atheism, and all the while it deals with abandonment and loyalty. It's a fierce, fierce read.
Do you like ponies?
Awesome. I absolutely love that. Jim knocked it out of the park and surprised me very much with that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a game. It's just going to be a kind of normal game. So we're not playing, anything fancy. It's just classic fixed. And we're going to try to get 6 players to join, and we'll see if that works. Sometimes you can kind of lure them in by like throwing in a couple little bots in there. So we'll see if that works. So right now we have some people starting to come in. All right. Now I always get a little suspicious when there's like 2 of the same icon, but we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. I've made the turn timer kind of incredibly long. And we're just playing classic fixed with hopefully 6 players. We just need the 6th player to join. Hi, Ben. What'd you see at the zoo? So, all right. Nice. Frank was saying, I need to know if she likes ponies. So we have 1 player left. So you know what we'll do? We'll just make that an AI and then we'll go. Just for the expediting of the stream. So right now we're going to kind of check it out and see how we do. Again, like, I'm in love with this game. I'm not, by any means a grandmaster. I might even lose my status as master in playing this game. So now we have 2 players. There's somebody else who the computer is taking over for. All right. So purple, I'm guessing, is going to go for... I'm trying to see. Okay, I'm in pretty good position to potentially go for like Australia. I don't know if that's going to happen. Otherwise, most of my troops are kind of stuck here in Asia. And so we'll just kind of have to see, what happens there. But I'm not seeing a lot of areas I can migrate to. I could potentially start building. So pink is just basically gonna just accrue troops nonstop. Paul said, did you see Jim's new full fungus hat? Is there an actual hat? I want a hat. I think that green is going to go for Australia, potentially. Maybe not. Oh, maybe not. That's good. Blue wants an alliance. I'll accept it. So green is going to go for Europe, I think. Now, blue's best play would be to try to secure. If I were blue, I'd probably go for South America, although blue is kind of in contest with pink in South America. So their best bet might be to start slowly building in Africa, weirdly enough, or try to take North America. But they're in a tough position. So, yeah, they are going to go with Africa. That's good. Or they're going to make the weird play for no Australia, no win. I think we're actually going to be taking the Australia position. I usually hate starting in Australia because usually newer players are kind of like really weird about Australia and go crazy suicidal to try to get it. White is just going to be like a monster. Okay. We're going to go for Australia. We're just going to do it. And we've taken Australia and got a card. The only person who can kind of impede on that is if... Yeah, actually, I think we're in pretty good standing for Australia. Where is purple going to go? Is purple going to continue trying to carve out North America? That would be a good starting spot. North America's tough because you have to kind of take it slow. But if I'm purple, that's where I'm going to go, is like North America is your best bet. Maybe you could use that 3 and try to collect a card without losing a lot. But if I'm purple... Or purple could come to contest Australia like a crazy person and move their 8 to the 4. That's at the top of the continent. I'm always forgetting what that's called, which continent that is. But that would be a really weird kind of suicidal play. So we'll see. Frank said, I've been out of the art loop. I've missed the updates on Jim's Full Fungus. Yeah, I still haven't actually watched the episode. I was out of town. Like, we were at Little Tokyo when Jim did his last Full Fungus with Ken Mora, who's actually a friend. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Now, does green make the wild no Australia, no win play? It looks like they might. It looks like green might be trying to contest Australia like a lunatic. They might move their 10 down to just try to be like, haha. Maybe not. Okay. So they still want to be in play, but I like that green is kind of blocked off from attacking me, at least currently. Now, does blue make the crazy no Australia, no win play? That's the problem with trying to do Australia in this game. If blue is smart right now, well, it's hard to say, but because like we have kind of passive players, they could start making the slow play for South America. But they're in a rough position. White is just the bot. So white is just going to eat cards like a lunatic. So I think what we're going to do is buff up our troops in Australia. And then we're going to do... I'm going to go ahead and eat a card here with my exterior troops, because why not? And kind of consolidate. Most of my exterior troops will probably be lost. But I want to keep those ones that green has as like a buffer against that 12 coming and slamming into me. Purple just passed on cards. That was a weird move. Not sure what purple wants to do there. I'm in a pretty good position here if nobody like suicides in Australia. like a pretty comfortable position. Because at the end of the day, everybody should have consolidated territory, and the longer they wait to take out those pinks, the quicker those pinks are just gonna pink is just gonna accrue troops, and it's gonna be a harder hit for them to take out those little chunks. So the fact that nobody's consolidated territory yet is pretty good. I'm not sure where everybody's trying to go. Like, I'm not sure what Blue's battle plan is here. It's interesting. I do know that Green could easily start taking Europe. Frank said, "Is YouTube acting up? The chat is cleared on my end." Give me a second. I'm just gonna make my play here. Okay, let's see here. Let me see if YouTube's chat is kind of weird. It might double some of the things. Oh, that's weird. It does look like it, at least on as far as I can see. It seems like the last. Wow, it looks like it looks like YouTube's chat is being really wacky. Philip said Josh was drawing and now he's playing a game. Yeah, 100%. Well, so I was working on. I had to finish page 82, and now I'm working on this. So now we're gonna see, does Green intend to no Australia, no win my territory? They don't. That's good. That's good news for me so far. Paul said in and out. Am I cutting? Frank said I'm on mobile. It was fine, and then it went dark. Can you not see the stream? Oh, Philip said I've been in and out. Philip, I have a question, man. On the bread maker, I've been wanting to ask you. So the last time I made bread, it overproofed or overrose, and it like spilled out onto the sides of the machine. And I just don't understand what happened there. But it would be fun to, find out. I don't have cards to cash in, so my only and I have the worst luck of the cash in, because in general, by the time you're 4 cards in, you should probably be able to cash out. But unfortunately, now I have to wait for 5 cards, which puts me at a vulnerable state to Blue, who might be able to cash in their cards, and maybe they'll do a suicide run on Australia. But luckily, they have to get through. Blue would have to get through that Green, and then or that 6. Frank said, "Did you use temperamental yeast? It tends to rise out of anger." Sounds like too much yeast, he said. Could you send me the recipe instructions? I just followed the ones that are on the computer, but maybe I just did. Maybe it was too much yeast. So we're gonna just finish this up. Is Blue gonna make the crazy suicide run? Hopefully not. They aren't. They take Africa. I don't think they can hold Africa because I'm guessing that green is going to want to come in there and take Africa. That's what my guess is. Blue is actually kind of my homie right now. Supposedly, we're allies. Frank said, "Too much yeast ruins a feast." So maybe I just over yeasted. Philip said, "I'll send you a Facebook message later. Thanks." Paul said, "I figured it out. My video is way behind the chat." Oh, okay. Well, I hope we can sort that out for you. So here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to take out white there. And now we're ready to cash in our cards as long as nobody does like a crazy suicide mission on us. I'm actually in pretty good standing here. My only threat right now is green. And green, if they don't move to take territory, is in a pretty bad spot. And again, this is just like a short, chill stream today. Frank said, "I need to contact Jim and verify when he can be on the Tarako Creative Cast." You should. You should ask him about the commercial, too. It's really cool. Okay, so we have purple just quit. They just rage quit. So the fact that purple rage quit is a good sign here. The fact that green isn't attacking blue is not the best sign. So I'm guessing that green and blue, maybe they have a partnership here. So now blue's putting themselves in a position where they can attack. I'm actually pretty fond of where I'm at here. The only downside is I have to kind of... Okay, let's see what we can do here. I want to get rid of blue's ability to attack me here. Behind this like protective wall of green. And we're going to use purple, who just rage quit, as like a defensive shield. And the great thing is, for them to accrue any territory, they're in really bad spots. So I'm actually in a really good position to win here. Frank said, "I love sweet bread with milk or coffee." That sounds awesome. Paul says, "My giant nephew ate 2 loaves of bread with his dinner the other day. He's a bread destroyer." Nice. Frank said, "I need to find a new co-host, so it might double as Jim's audition." I would love a Frank and... So green is still accruing a lot of power there, but they have yet to move. But green is definitely like my biggest threat right now. Blue is going to have a hard time kind of consolidating the space they're in. So green, it's really, at this point, this game is kind of me and green. And then blue can be kind of like I guess, like, can kind of call it. Like they have the ability to kind of call the game potentially. Because if blue like suicides against one of us, it's like that's going to decide who wins. So it really is just me versus versus green at this point. But no one's holding territory except blue. Blue's in a pretty good spot too if they do it real covert, but every time these players are letting pink just accrue stacks of troops, the more they're kind of in trouble. So what I need to do potentially on my next turn or whatever, I need to start blocking green's ability to collect cards on my side. Because I want to incentivize green to go forward. Because the second green goes forward and tries to take any territory, green's done. Paul said, gotta go mow the lawn later on, tough guys. All right, take it easy, Paul. We're almost at the hour mark, so we might play a quick trailer once we're an hour in. Wrap this game up so that we can work on stuff. Is blue going to go for it? Are they going to hit that 11? I mean, it's ambitious. Oh, they're going for white. Okay. Interesting. Move this over so you guys can see it. So blue's going to try to take 2 spots. Green is just going to keep playing a passive user. They're kind of turtling, so they're going to let blue just accrue a ton of power. So I'm going to block green right now from taking cards on my side because I want green having to attack forward. I want to incentivize green to start hitting white or start hitting blue. Because basically, if green doesn't hit that 8, the 3, the 8, or somebody, like, they're just not going to collect cards. So I'm forcing their hand. Now, they might get pissed and just suicide me in response. But I force them to move forward, which is good. That's forcing them to lose some cards. Blue is really focused. They're trying to take action, and blue is not getting challenged at all by green, which makes me really suspicious. I mean, it's a good play on green's part where they can kind of keep the game like pretty mellow, and also that maybe they're trying to lure white into hitting me, which again might happen. So I think here we're going to do... Oh, now I'm kind of trapped card-wise. Interesting. So we'll have to see what exactly happens here. Blue's making a slow play. Green has kind of effectively trapped me a little bit. Green also has like a big card turn in there. So are they finally going to attack blue? Or are they waiting for blue to kind of clear a spot for them? Blue is going to own 2 territories in a second. Right now I'm the table lead. That's good news. Kind of don't mind being in that position. But right now blue is going to consolidate. If they're smart, they're going to hit that 12 and consolidate, but they're really open and vulnerable to green. Is green going to let blue just accrue 2 territories worth of cards without kind of challenging that? That's the question. All right, white basically moves into green without breaking that little shield. Oh, what do I do here? Do I want to open it up so that green can hit me? I mean, I guess I might have... Oh, green quit. Green rage quit. Perfect. The fact that green rage quit now opens us up to be able to hit blue. So let's get rid of this, and let's actually directly hit blue and take them out of the game as best as we can. They have 4 cards, so this may not work, but it's better to be just kind of aggressive and just take them out, because they're literally the only threat other than white. And I'll just move my 6 down and continue to fortify stage. Wow, green just rage quit. That was kind of cool. So that 56 stack isn't moving anywhere. So it's me and blue and white at this point. Hope I have a card turn in soon. I do. Yep, it's me and blue did not have a card turn in, so blue is in trouble. Big trouble. So we might win this game in a second, depending on what happens with white. It would be fun to be able to close this out real quick. So white's going to take a lot of blue out. That's good. Blue has 5 cards, so if I hit blue, I can use his cards to kind of cash in and kind of take over. So let's do that. Let's do that.
Dad?
Yep.
Maybe you shouldn't do that. Who's your ally? And that would be destroying your ally.
Yeah, but
You
it's...
probably wouldn't want to do that until around the end of the game.
It is the end of the game, Ben. That's why I'm doing it. Ben was like, you don't want to destroy your ally till the end of the game. And I'm like, no, this is end game. We're winning right now. We're going to basically beat this game at this point. I don't think there's any way that white can kind of recover from that, but let's find out. Let's move our 10 in a spot where we can attack white. And we'll just start dominating now. I'm so glad that green rage quit, because actually green was in a position where they could have easily killed me. But I trapped them a little bit, so I'm glad they quit out of the game. But they had a possibility of still winning. So at this point, it's just me and white. what I need to do is take out this little thread, and then that'll force white to have to attack. Yeah, this game is very close to done. So let's force the leftovers of white to start going after these big chunks, so I don't have to. Which one has more cards? Maybe we take pink next. So yeah, this game's pretty much done. Like, so we've kind of effectively taken the map. Hopefully these were high-ranking players. I have no idea what their ranks were, but I look forward to accruing those points and getting one step closer on my path, attempting to dominate and become a grandmaster. So it'll be a few turns, but you'll see. That was a good game. Sometimes I don't play perfectly. I feel like this one I did pretty good. It's usually pretty easy to play from Australia, like when you have a secure hold on it. So I lucked out a bit at the beginning, where nobody was really in a huge position to challenge me. We're going to take white's cards this next turn. So let's do that. Let's also take out purple, just for the heck of it, because we can. We got one card there. And I think the game's over here, where we're going to, like, I can't believe green rage quit. That was kind of perfect. And that's going to be it. We'll go ahead and close it out. I was going to play another trailer, but we actually wrapped the game pretty early. So we had a pretty successful stream. We finished the colors for page 82. Let me go ahead and do this, and we'll see where it takes us. Should we just be jerks and take out... Yeah, let's do that. I want to have fun. I want to take out green first. That's what you get. Okay, and then we're going to take out pink. Okay, so we won. That's good. That was our game of Risk. That was pretty fun. And we beat an expert, which is good, an intermediate, and a novice. So we've gotten one step closer to Grandmaster. So about 1,000 points extra. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this stream. And thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys probably a little bit later tonight when I get working on hopefully page 83. Have a good weekend, guys, and I will see you on the next live stream. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good Saturday, and I'm also going to attempt to make bread again. So hopefully I do just the right balance of yeast on this one. All right, see you guys. Bye.